Hello everybody. In this video I'm going to be showing you how to take a binomial and square it. And I'm going to be really showing you a little shortcut way of completing that task without going through the long sort of FOIL expansion, okay? So when we take a binomial and we square it, what we end up getting is called a perfect square trinomial. All right, and that sort of comes from our knowledge about squaring numbers, right? So if, for example, if I take a number like 5 and I square it, I end up getting 25. And 25 is what we call a perfect square, right? Okay, so anytime we take a value and we square it, the resultant value is known as a perfect square. Now the same is true if we take a binomial and square it. The result is called a perfect square trinomial. So for example, if we have something like ax minus b and we square it, we end up getting this expression. Okay, and I'm going to show you how I got this, and then I will also do it with one with some numbers. So ax minus b squared would be the same thing as if I had ax minus b and I squared it. That would be the same thing as taking ax minus b and multiplying it by another ax minus b. Now I can multiply these two binomials using the FOIL strategy. So ax times ax, so a times a is a squared, and x times x is x squared. That's the first term. O would be ax times negative b, and a positive and a negative makes a negative. And then ax times b would just be, I'm going to write it as abx. Now I, negative b times ax, a negative and a positive makes a negative. B times ax, same thing as abx. Now lastly, negative b times negative b, a negative and a negative makes a positive. B times b is b squared. Okay, now the two middle terms are the same, as in they are like terms. So a squared x squared. Negative ab minus negative ab is negative 2ab, and then x, and then plus b squared. All right, so now relating what we have as our result with what we had in the beginning here, if we have ax minus b and we square it, we're going to end up with a trinomial, and the first term is going to be taking the first term and squaring it. Right, so a squaring it, we get a squared, and then of course our first term is going to be x squared. Our last term is going to be the same thing as b and squared, and our middle term is going to be the first term multiplied by the second term multiplied by 2. So a times negative b times 2 is negative 2ab, and then x. All right, so let me show you the same shortcut using some actual numbers. Maybe it might make a little bit more sense. So using some actual values, let's take something like, let's say 5x plus 3. So if I have 5x plus 3 and I square it, this is going to be 5x plus 3 times another 5x plus 3. That's what it means to square something, right? Take your base, multiply it by itself. Let's use FOIL here. 5x times 5x is 25x squared. That's this one. 5x times 3 is positive 15x. 3 times 5x is positive 15x. And 3 times 3 is positive 9. 25x squared. 15x plus 15x is 30x. And then positive 9. Okay, so let's take a look at how all of these numbers came to be. We took 5x and we square it, we end up getting 25x squared. When we take positive 3 and we square it, we end up getting positive 9. Now to get the middle term, we have to do 5x multiplied by 3 multiplied by 2. And that's the rule. So 5x times 3 is 15x, times 2 is 30x. Okay, and so we could always take a binomial and square it using the FOIL strategy, or if we want to sort of take a little bit of a shortcut, here are the rules. So when you are presented with a binomial such as 5x plus 3 and you are being asked to square it, the result is going to be square the first term. So 5x squared would be 25x squared. Square the last term. That would be 3 squared is 9. That goes at the end. And then here, multiply the two terms with each other, then double your answer. So 5x times 3 is 15x. Doubling that, multiplying by 2, gives us 30x. And there's our shortcut. Okay, let's try an example. So 2x plus 3 squared. 2x plus 3 squared. Okay, using our shortcut method. To square this binomial, we would have to square the first term. So 2x squared would be 4x squared. Then at the end, we're going to have to square the last term. So 3 squared is positive 9. And then the middle term here is going to be 2x multiplied by 3 and then doubled. So 2x times 3 is 6x. Doubling 6x gives us 12x. Okay, 4x squared plus 12x plus 9. Or we could do this the long way by just writing 2x plus 3 times another 2x plus 3, and then using FOIL. 2x times 2x is 4x squared. 2x times 3 is 6x. 3 times 2x is 6x. 3 times 3 is 9. 4x squared, 6x plus 6x is 12x plus 9. Okay? And that's how we square a binomial. And remember, the result of squaring a binomial is always a perfect square trinomial. Okay, great. That's it for today. Next lesson I'm going to be doing, we'll be looking at how to factor polynomials, which would be the reverse of expanding. All right, see you then, everyone.